Hey, so this is your Color Theory 101 class, and I'm super excited that you took the opportunity to hop on and to get this digital beauty educational video just for you to elevate your artistry. So I hope you're ready. Let's get started. So if you don't know by now, you should, because how else did you get to this point? So my name is Brittany. Hey. So I am a pro makeup artist. I'm a skin expert, which is basically, in my regard, a licensed esthetician. I'm a cosmetologist, or you can say hairstylist, same thing. And I'm a beauty instructor. So I love that you are here, like I said, and I'm so happy that you're taking your artistry to the next level to elevate whatever you got to do to enhance your artistry at this given time. So, if you don't know about me, that is a little bit about me. I've been in the industry um, since I want to say like 2010. 2009, 2010, that's when I started to really hone in and develop my craft as a makeup artist. Makeup artistry was my first love, and then I fell into skin. I was always doing hair since I was a kid. You already know the drill, braids and all that stuff. And then I became a beauty instructor or a cosmetologist instructor for Paul Mitchell School in Miami. I'm no longer there, but I still have that educational spirit no matter what, no matter where I'm going, who I'm teaching to. Um, that still remains. So I'm super excited that you grabbed this course and let's get going. So like I said, I'm so glad you're here. Um, you're definitely in for a treat. And if you don't know anything about color theory, this is also a great beginner course and advanced course put together. So I would definitely say at this point, if you haven't grabbed your pen and paper or pencil and paper or notebook, this is the moment to do so. So tonight you will learn three things, right? Three topics is what you're going to learn today. So the first one is basics of the color wheel and how to nail it every time without a color wheel present. The second thing is different ways to incorporate color in makeup. The third topic is how to see color cohesively with creating makeup looks. So this is a judgment-free zone. So I'm not going to judge you based off of what you don't know. It is what it is. Like, this is not that type of class, if that's what you expected. I'm here for you. I'm here to support you in your growth. I'm here to support you in your artistry. And yeah, let's go. So if you don't know about the color wheel or you do know about the color wheel, this is going to be a refresh, okay? So a refresh and then we'll dive deeper. So if you don't know, color is law. And so for example, um, if you think of gravity, what goes up must come down. So color is law. So however you're mixing your combination of colors, it's always going to be um, whatever that color is that you mix every time. So every time you have a certain ratio of colors that you mix together, it's going to be that every time no matter what. Okay, so color is law. Nothing is going to um, break that law. That's basically what that means, okay? So primary. So primary colors, when we're talking about the color wheel, primary, the word primary is, I want you to think of it as the word first. So primary is another word or is another way to say something coming first, okay? So in the color wheel world, there's no two colors that can create a primary color. So when you think of each primary color, red, blue, and yellow, if you really take the time to think about each color, no two colors can make red, no two colors can make blue, no two colors can make yellow. Okay? That's why those three specific colors are primary colors. When you think of the word secondary, secondary is a word that we think of is second, right? So something coming in second represents secondary, represents the word secondary, okay? So when we think of secondary colors, it's equal parts of two primary colors. And it has to be equal parts of two primary colors to become a secondary color. So for example, you have red and you have blue. So equal parts of red and blue gives you purple or violet, however you want to say it. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. And the third, if you don't know about the word tertiary, because it's not, I feel like a lot of people, is not common until they hear the color wheel, and that's when they hear the word. But tertiary is an actual word, and so it means third. Okay, something coming in third. So when we put tertiary colors together, it's equal parts of one primary color and one secondary color. So one primary color and one secondary color. Okay. One primary color, one secondary color. Going back to the secondary color, I actually told you, no, I told you the right thing. So the tertiary color is one primary color and one secondary color. So as an example, you have red, orange. So orange is a secondary color, red is the primary color. This is what you know from the color wheel refresh. This is what you know. So let's talk about the why. So now we're digging deeper into the color wheel. Deeper into the color wheel or color theory. So the color wheel again is made up of only three colors. Okay, again, the color wheel is only made up of three colors. So when all three primary colors, which is red, blue, and yellow, are equally mixed together, a neutral brown hue is created. If you don't know what the word hue stands for, it's just another word for color. Okay, so remembering the primary colors is really all you need. You don't need anything else. Okay, and I'm going to explain to you why you don't have to carry around a pocket color wheel to tell you the answer all the time. The answer is already there, like embedded in your head. All you have to do is just what we're going to talk about in the next slide. Here's where you will nail it every time without a color wheel. And I promise you, you will nail it every time without a color wheel. Two reasons. One, because color is law. So no matter what, color will always be law, no matter how it's being mixed. Okay? And then the second thing is, it's only three colors that you're working with, right? And if you remember the color wheel refresh we just did, we basically developed all those colors with the primary colors. So let me tell you the secret. So when one or two primary colors are present, you're going to decipher the missing primary colors to either neutralize and or determine the complementary color. So the word neutralize and the words complementary color are one and the same. They mean the same thing. Okay. So again, I'm going to repeat myself. So when one or two primary colors are present, you want to decipher the missing primary colors to either neutralize and or determine the complementary color. So it's more an issue, or it gets overwhelming when you're trying to remember the entire color wheel with all those colors laid out, right? It's easier if you take just the primary color, which are only 3 colors, and take the primary colors and figure out what answer you're trying to get. And another reason you want to focus on just the 3 primary colors is because when in a bind, when you're dealing with makeup, or just trying to remember a color, you need to know how to mix that, like a specific color. If you're mixing anything that's not a primary color, you got to figure out, how did you get there? What color combination did I use to get to that specific shade? How can I recreate that? Sometimes you'll have to recreate colors in order to get the job done as a makeup artist and a hairstylist too, but since we're talking about makeup, you literally have to figure out how to get from point A to point B. So if you focus so hard on the rest of the colors on the color wheel, as far as like, oh, I just need to know the name or whatever, and you don't remember how to mix to get to that specific shade, it's a problem, right? So this is the reason why I teach the color wheel in this sense, or color theory in this sense, because I want you to think your way through in order to get the answer that you're looking for. Like, I want you to understand the why behind what you know, right? So here's a little activity. I know you're not with me, but I'm going to tell you the answer and break it down for you. Okay? So based off of what I just said with the deciphering the missing primary colors, we're going to play that example into the color activity. So the first example says, when red is present, remember red is a primary color. When red is present, what is the missing primary color? So you only got 3. So 1 is already knocked down for you. So red is already knocked down. So the 2 missing primary colors you can only think about is yellow and blue. So when you mix yellow and blue together, it gives you green. So red cancels green, or green cancels red, however you want to look at it. They both cancel each other. That is how, if you are trying to neutralize or trying to understand the complementary colors, that is how you do it. This is so simple. So simple, okay? Another example is purple. Purple is a secondary color that is stemmed from primary colors. So all the colors that you know are stemmed from primary colors, okay? So purple is present. What is the missing primary color? So if you have a secondary color, that means you got 2 primary colors already taken. So purple, when we split purple up into primary colors, it's 1 part red to 1 part blue, or equal parts of red and blue, put it that way. So red and blue are primary colors. Those are 2 primary colors. So the missing primary color is yellow, and that is how you do it. So anytime you're like, I don't know how to cancel, color correct, anything of that nature, you have to see what you got going on, which we're going to talk about. You have to see what's present in front of you, and then you're going to figure out what's the missing primary color. That's it. Okay. The last example that I have is, when green is present, what is the missing primary color? So green is a secondary color. So green, when we split green up into primary colors, it's equal parts of yellow and blue. So yellow and blue are primary colors. They're 2 primary colors. There's only one that's missing, 1 primary color that's missing, and that's red. So green cancels red. Okay, so at this point, you may or may not have questions, but I hope so far that it's been clear and concise. about the color wheel. And so let's move on. So there's different ways to incorporate color in makeup, okay? Of course, the most common way to include color in makeup is color correcting. Color correcting is something that we automatically think about when it comes to um, just thinking about the color wheel, right? Color correcting. So I'm going to take my time on this because this is going to be a long one. So, color correcting, when you're trying to color correct for makeup, I'm not going to tell you how to color correct. I'm going to give you the why behind color correcting, okay? So keep in mind that the color is still law. Color is still law no matter how you place it. Color is still law, okay? So with color correcting, you want to make sure that you're color correcting when it's needed. Not every person's skin is going to call for color correcting. Like you don't have to color correct everybody. Um, if you do color correct everybody and their skin doesn't need it, you're adding extra products. You're adding extra color and then you got to correct it again. Like you're adding too many things, and it can be overwhelming, and you're wasting product. So the key to color correcting is only doing it when you really have to. Okay? If you ain't got to, then don't waste your time. Don't waste your time and don't waste your products. So when color correcting, you want to assess the colors in the skin prior to foundation. You should be doing an assessment before you go in and start applying your first round of products on the face. So before you even do skin prep, you want to make sure you're assessing the skin, the colors in the skin prior to foundation, okay? Because you need to know what you're working with. Literally, you need to know what you're working with in order for you to proceed if your client needs to be color corrected or not. Okay, so these are real cute. I think they just came out. Lancome just came out with these color correctors. I'm actually really itching to try them because Lancome is bomb, first of all, and and I definitely want to get my hands on these color correctors, okay? So let's talk about them. But they're not the only ones on the market. So another good that I know, I haven't tried, but I know the brands, like I tried the brand and I really like it, is Bobbi Brown. So Bobbi Brown has really great color correctors as well. Um, and it's perfect for any kind of client. So yes. All right, anywho, so moving right along to the first one. To the left, we have orange correctors. So I feel like when we think of correctors, orange is the only color that pops up. When I say color is law, color, baby, color is law. Whatever you see in that skin, you gotta correct it. Okay? So orange correctors. When you're thinking of orange, just a true to orange, it's a secondary color, and when we break it down into primary colors, it's equal parts of yellow and red. Is why I have it broken down, so you have it in the back of your mind as I'm explaining how this is going to, tie together and make a bit more sense, okay? So orange is a secondary color, and when you're correcting using an orange corrector, it helps to cancel dark circles that range from blue to purple. Okay, so keep in mind orange. When we think of orange, the primary colors is yellow and red. The missing primary color is blue. Okay, so orange cancels blue. So the only way, like your darkness, dark spots or dark circles can be created, like the color that is used is only two types of colors. So it's blue or purple, or a mixture of both. Okay, so always keep that in mind. So anytime you see a dark circle, it has a hue or a tint of blue and purple. Blue and purple is the only dark colors that you can create to create those colors in the skin, right? So you're like, okay, Britt, how do I correct purple then? So if we split purple into primary colors, which is equal parts of red and blue, if we look back at how orange is created, you have equal parts of yellow and red. So purple or yellow neutralizes or balances out purple. Okay? Now if you have equal parts of it, orange can correct that. Now, yeah, if you have equal parts of yellow and red, orange can correct it. Okay? So just keep that in mind. And then remember, to create purple, you also have blue in it. So blue is the dominant color between blue and red. It's the strongest of the two. So orange will help knock that out, and the yellow is going to do its job. Okay? So an orange corrector, you want to make sure that you're only placing the orange corrector where you see the darkness. If you don't see the darkness and you apply an orange corrector or any corrector that doesn't, that there's nothing to correct, it's going to change the tone of where you place it. So you're gonna look like an orange. You feel me? Like you're gonna look like an Oompa Loompa in that area if it's not further corrected through the makeup application. So, which is another step that you don't have to do. So you want to make sure that where you're placing the corrector is where you see what you're trying to correct. So if you see dark circles, that's where you're going to place it. So they're like, okay, so how come there's red, orange? Like, why is there a darker color corrector? Why can't they just use peach? Or like peach is a pastel type of orange corrector, which is just a lighter, it's not that much red in it. It's more yellow than red, right, to make it peach. So the difference between a peach corrector and a dark red-orange corrector, okay? So keep in mind that orange is to cancel out dark circles that range from blue to purple. So if there is a darker, like a red-orange corrector, that means that the hues of the dark circles are significantly darker. They're like almost black in order for them to use a red-orange corrector. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So that means that there's more blue in the pigment. If it's darker, then that means that there's more blue in that dark circle, right? And you need a red orange to help correct that darkness. If you put peach on top of that darkness of a dark circle, it's not going to cancel all of it. It's not. It's not. And what's going to happen is it might look like it's working at first, and then once you put down your concealer or your foundation on top of that, that darkness might shine through if you don't know how to correct it at the at whatever concealer you're putting underneath there. If you're not correcting it at that point and you set it, it's gonna be gray. It's gonna have a slight gray hue because it's not fully corrected. A peach tone on a dark circle that really needs a red orange corrector is going to be not enough pigment in order to correct that dark circle. So that's what I mean by that. So the key to color correcting is that you want to use the intensity of the corrector that matches the intensity of what you're trying to correct. So like I said in that example, if there's more blue pigment in that dark circle, right, then you need to lean towards a darker red orange. If there isn't much darkness in the dark circle, if there isn't much blue in the dark circle, then you stay either true to tone or move on to something that's a little bit lighter, which is your peach. So that means if you're using peach, there is a lighter dark circle. You see more purple or more red purple than you see blue. So that means that if it's lighter, if that dark circle is lighter, that means that there's not that much blue in it. Because remember, blue is a stronger color compared to purple. Purple is red and blue, right? Blue is darker than purple. So if it's a lighter dark circle than blue or blue and purple put together, then you gotta lean more towards your orange corrector or your peach corrector. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, I can go on and on about correcting. So we're gonna move on to the other set on the right side. Okay, so you have a green corrector. So green is a secondary color. You break it down into primary colors. It's equal parts of blue and yellow. Okay, so with a green corrector, it helps to cancel any redness in the skin. So if you see red acne, like if they have pimples and the color around the pimple is red, that is a red color. And if you see rosacea, which is it looks like a blush on the cheeks, it is actually a skin issue. So rosacea has rosy red or any redness in the skin. Okay, any other redness that appears in the skin, sometimes it can be around the nostrils, the edges of the nostrils, and around the eye area. There is your typical area where you're going to see random redness. Probably sometimes it could be from irritation of the skin. You never know. Okay, so green, going back to the color wheel, you got blue and yellow as your two primary colors. The missing primary color is red. So a green color corrector cancels out red. Okay, so wherever you see red, that's where you're going to put green. Okay, now we're moving on to purple or lavender because it's usually not that dark, but so purple. So a lavender color corrector, if we split purple up into primary colors, it's equal parts of red and blue. So a lavender corrector helps to cancel sallow yellowish skin. So if you ever seen like, not that they look sick, but it's like a yellow tint. Sometimes it could be the entire face. That don't mean to cover the entire face, but because there's other ways you can manipulate the tone. And sometimes it could be spots that scatter on the skin that has this yellowish hue to it. you can balance that out a bit with the lavender, okay? All right, so we're gonna move on to the next slide. So color correcting can also be used to adjust foundation shade, adjust lip color shade, adjust blush shade, adjust eyeshadow shades. Like literally color correcting or color adjustment, however you want to call it, can be used in all types of, throughout your entire makeup application. Okay, so I have two makeup items that I have in my kit, and this is the first one to the left, is the furthest to the left, is the Makeup Forever Flash Palette, which has the primary colors, and you have the Anastasia, wow, Beverly Hills Lip Palette. These two products are a cream-based type of consistency, like type of texture, and I love to use it to adjust anything that has a similar texture. So I love to work with cream foundations, and so I mix that into the foundation shade if I need to adjust um, the shade depending on like what's going on with my client, and if I don't have a foundation shade available that they need and it's just a little off, then I'm going to add in the necessary primary colors to adjust the shade. Okay, so if I wanted to darken a color, you want to add black. If I wanted to lighten a color, I want to add white. When you're darkening and lightening a color, you're only doing that when, like, let's say you have the shade that you want. Like, let's say blue is the shade that you want. Blue is the color that you're looking for. You just want to keep that color, but you're making it either darker or lighter. So you're not changing the color by adding in an actual color. So if I add in red, that completely changes it to purple. I want to keep the color what it is, but I just want to make it either darker or lighter. That's when you want to add in black or white, because black and white aren't colors. Black and white are our absence of color. So I want you to keep that in mind, because when I was a kid and try to understand color and painting and all that jazz, I didn't understand the mixing process. Like that really didn't resonate with me until I got older. So I was a sketch artist. Sketching is my thing, and that's how I got into it. But um baby, so you want to keep in mind that if you're trying to darken or lighten, you're using black or white. So when adjusting hues, you want to keep in mind that blue is the strongest out of the primary colors. So we dabbled into this when we were talking about color correcting and how to do that. So blue is the strongest out of the primary colors. If you really look at it, if you look at blue, you can automatically see which one is the strongest, right? It's darker, and it carries much weight. It carries more pigment. Okay, so blue is the strongest color. Um, and yellow is the weakest out of the three primary colors. Red is neutral, so it's not as strong as blue, but it's stronger than yellow. Okay, so it's right smack dab in the middle. So moving right along, this is the other half of the lesson. So we're going to develop cohesive color looks by creating color balance. Okay, so remember, I'm going to be pretty redundant throughout the lesson that color is law no matter how you use it. Color will be present no matter what. Okay, so if color is present, you do need a sense of balance. So I want to tell you before we move on, color is law, yes, but when we're dealing with an actual client in regards to if, we're thinking of wearable makeup, right? This is what I'm talking about as far as like color balancing. If you're going into editorial or creative makeup, anything kind of goes. Color is still law, yes, but at that point, they're there to create art than really trying to follow the theory of color. Okay, so let me make that clear. I don't want you thinking like, well, I've seen this and yada yada yada. Yeah, that's not wearable makeup. Wearable makeup is like they're going somewhere, they got to go to work, they're going to an event, a red carpet event, a party or something. Oh, that is wearable makeup. They got to go somewhere or they got to be in somebody's house. That is wearable makeup from a consumer's perspective, right? So that is what we're talking about here. Okay. So we want to develop cohesive color looks by creating color balance. And when I understood and practiced, because it's not easy, when I understood and practiced the cohesiveness of color looks and combining a cohesive makeup look, that's when, like, when I tell you, when I create color looks or just cohesiveness with a makeup look, everything flows together, which is cohesive. It's consistent and it meshes together the right way. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. Okay. So to the left, my model to the left, these are just examples. You have a warm face and lips and cool eyes, and to the right is myself. You have a warm face, cool eyes, and lips. So these completely different looks is the balance of the color is there. Okay, so again, going back to the color wheel, when you mix all three primary colors together equally, you get a neutral brown, right? Or a neutral tone. So you want to make sure you want to have an understanding of like, in order for me to create balance, you need a balance of cool colors and warm colors. Okay, so basically the primary colors put together. That is what creates a color balance. Okay, so creating color combos with eyes and lips. So we're going to talk about three color schemes that I am very well aware of. And once you learn these color schemes and really understand it and practice it, you will start, after this class, you will start seeing the color schemes in every makeup look. If they do it right, in every makeup look, because people just be throwing colors together. Not talking about that. We're talking about actual makeup artists um when they throw looks together, not throw looks together, when you start seeing the looks combining, you'll start seeing the three color schemes. Okay? Three types of color schemes, which is super cool. So the first one to the left is contrasting or complementary colors. Okay? Contrasting or complementary colors live directly across from each other, and when used, it is the most dynamic and prominent. Okay? So colors that live right across from each other. If you're trying to figure out what colors live right across from each other, we already actually figured it out. So by deciphering the missing primary color. So whatever color you missing in your primary color is what lives across from each other. So for example, green, if we split green up into primary colors, it's equal parts of yellow and blue. And the missing primary color from yellow and blue is red. Okay, so that red sits across the color wheel from green. Okay, so red and green are contrasting to each other, and they're also complementary colors. So if you look at my makeup look, it's super dynamic compared to the other color scheme, because the intensity of the red and the intensity of the green eye look are just about the same. So it makes it very dynamic and prominent. So you want to give this look to somebody who loves color, okay? You don't want to give this look to somebody who is conservative. If they're conservative and they're not about that color life, if they're conservative, you're not about that color life like that. You don't want to give them this particular color scheme, because if you do, it'll scare them. So you do want to make sure that you're consulting with your client as far as like what they're comfortable with, before you just do your own thing. You know what I'm saying? Try to get a vibe, a feel of what your client likes, how they are from a day to day, by just having a conversation with them to see like what they're comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? They're walking around with this makeup look. You gotta know what you working with. Okay. So the other color scheme to the right is monochromatic colors. So monochromatic colors are different shades of one hue. So if you take one hue, in this example is pink, you have different shades underneath that one color. All right. So or not purple, or red. Pink is a form of red. And there's different shades that lie underneath it. So for the eyes, the eyeshadow has light to dark pink colors, and the lips is like a nude pink lip. Okay. If you look at these two color looks side by side, you can automatically tell what's more conservative and softer compared to the other side. It's not a guessing game like, oh, I think one is soft. No, it automatically looks more dynamic. One looks more dynamic and the other looks more softer. Okay? So it's never going to be a guessing game. It's always going to look what it's supposed to look like. You know what I'm saying? So when you are doing these looks, it is very appealing to the eye. Okay, it can be very appealing to the eye. It doesn't seem like it's off, nothing. But if I combine these two looks together on one face, it's too overwhelming. It can be overwhelming. The same intensity on the complementary color scheme and the same intensity on the monochromatic color scheme. If I put those two looks together, just that intense on one makeup look, it can be very overwhelming because it's too many colors put together. It's not enough of a, it's way too much color and just thrown together, like it's way too much, okay? So when you're developing color looks, you gotta think about the color scheme that you're trying to create. All right, not a trend, but the color scheme. What are these combination of colors? What are you trying to do? Do you know why you're putting these colors like that together? That's what you have to figure out. The last color scheme, which I honestly love. I didn't do this makeup look. This is a makeup artist that I follow. Her name is Tolu, and on Instagram, her Instagram is Gold Faced Artistry on Instagram, and she's phenomenal. She's a phenomenal artist, and I wanted to feature her model's look on here. So here we go. So the last color scheme is analogous colors, right? Analogous basically means three colors side by side on the color wheel to create balance you want to use one of the three shades as your dominant color. If it's more than one, if all of them are trying to fight to be the top color, it's overwhelming. Meaning that if you have, in her example, red, blue, and magenta and purple all over the face, in the eyes and the lips, it's too much. You got too much going on. It causes the eyes to go everywhere. Like it's you're telling whoever is looking at the person that has that makeup on, something is off, something is not flowing right, like something is completely off and they can't pinpoint. Anybody can say that, especially if they're not a makeup artist. If they're just a regular schmegular person, people will see color every day. People are going to gravitate to colors that look appealing to the eye. Okay? So, without much knowledge, your brain is going to register like that don't go together. Something about that it doesn't work. I don't know if it's the hair or the what. It's gonna pop, okay? So in her example, let's break this down. We'll start with the eyes. So the eyes, if you look really closely, you have hues of red, blue, magenta, and purple. So these colors live very close together on the color wheel. Then if you look at the rest of her face, she has a red blush or a reddish pink blush, and then her lip color is red. And all those colors have the same intensity, okay? I want you to keep that in mind. It's about the same intensity everywhere, okay? Just about. And if you look at the entire look as a whole, red is the dominant color throughout. You got red in the eyes, right? There's red and magenta. There's red and pink. There's red on her lips. So red is the dominant color. This is an analogous makeup look, an analogous color scheme, okay? When one dominant color is carried throughout the entire color look, it's less overwhelming and it's more appealing to the eye, okay? Now, I also want you guys to take into consideration that it's not just the makeup look that has color, okay? Everywhere has color on that person. So you gotta also take into consideration the person's hair color, brow color, their eye color. All of that is going to either change or enhance or diminish, okay? So you do want to take that into consideration. So let's say if a person has brown eyes, if you think of the color brown, all three primary colors when they're mixed together makes a brown hue, okay? So that means that any color that you put on that person's eyelid and they got brown eyes, it's going to work because it's going to lean into whatever colors you put on that eye, because brown has all three primary colors put together. So it doesn't matter which color you use, it's going to enhance it with whatever color you choose. So that is so dope and so cool. So when someone has brown eyes, like a neutral brown eye, it can work with any color. Okay, it's never gonna be like, I don't know which one I'm gonna use, so because I don't know what her eyes is gonna do. It's going to be really pretty, as you can see here. And that is it. I hope that you learned so much from this lesson, from generalizing the color wheel, of how to use the color wheel, understanding the colors, knowing that color is law, from color correcting, adjusting, to finally the color schemes of color. and how you can plug and play color combinations into your color look. I am super excited that you took this class. I also want to note that it doesn't stop here. When you want to grow with your artistry, or grow in your artistry, you have to practice. Okay, so I do want you to, now that you got the knowledge, to take the time to practice. So grab models, work on a client, but grab models is a lot not easier, but if you're practicing something new, do it on the model first, okay? Practice what you just learned, especially the color schemes, okay? Practice what you just learned and put it into play. And also gain inspiration on Instagram and Google and see what the color schemes that you'll notice all the color schemes that I talked about when you're researching, when you are looking for inspiration, okay? And I please, please, please practice. This is something that might not come easy to you, something that is new, so you have to practice, okay? With any questions that you may have, since we're not face to face, this is a video, an educational video, please don't be afraid to contact me, but please contact me through email. That's beuniquemakeupartistry@gmail.com. And if you are not following me on Instagram, it's Brittany Davis Artistry. All right. Again, thank you so much for taking this class. I hope you learned something. I know you did. And take all of this extensive knowledge and put it to practice. All right. Bye. Talk to you later.